Thanks for joining us on the John Mendola Show. We're driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Center. So let's talk Nanticoke boys basketball. Joining us right now is the head coach, John Beggs. Well, John, some ups and downs like any other season and any other team, and a lot of parity in both the Wyoming Valley Conference and Lackawanna conferences in various girls and boys divisions. And a little of the same thing for you guys. A tough stretch. You've played some really good teams well. You've beaten a couple, and then, of course, some teams as well have come in and pretty tough. So let's talk about the positives there at Nanticoke. You guys are having a pretty darn good year.
Yeah, we were excited. We started off the season 6-0, and we got a lot of excitement in the community, and our players were fired up, and I think we needed that because we haven't started a season with that kind of record for a while. And then we got brought back to reality with some games. We went on a tough 3-game losing stretch where we played some really good teams. We lost to GAR, was competitive until the end of the third quarter, then they pulled away. We lost a tough game at home to Myers, and then the following day we went on the road to North Schuylkill and lost the game. So we were really falling apart in the fourth quarter. We were close in all those games, and we just struggled to score in the fourth quarter. And then we bounced back with a huge win against Hanover the other night, overtime game in our place in front of a packed house, a great environment. So you're right, some ups, some downs, but we're excited where we are. We're 4-2 in the league right now, and we're right in the hunt for the division title.
Well, John, it all starts with a couple of seniors that you have. Let's talk a little bit about, you're very young. Well, let's talk about the seniors and the leadership you're getting there at Nanticoke.
Yeah, one of our senior captains is Robert Burke, and he's a great teammate, one of the best leaders we've had. He really takes the ownership of the scout team. He leads in practice, really gets everybody fired up, and he's a guy that has a great personality, likes to get everybody cranked up, both the fans and the team. And our senior starter, another co-captain, is Matt Winters. He's our best defender by far. I think he's actually one of the best defenders in the league. He holds people to about 35 to 40% of their scoring average. He really works hard at communicating with all our other players, and he's starting to rebound the ball for us a little bit better. So we're really excited to have those two seniors.
As we talk a little bit about Nanticoke boys basketball, we'll get into the junior class that you have. And, Coach, one of those guys who's a leader out there, Brent Poinkowski, could do a little bit of everything, a big body in the middle.
Yeah, Brent's our leading scorer and our leading rebounder. He's a returning starter. He started last year as a sophomore. And he's playing good basketball for us. He's a good free throw shooter. He's put on some weight and some muscle this year, so he's doing a good job in the paint. He had a couple big steals for us against Hanover, and we need him to play well for us to be successful. He needs to firm up the inside so we could work on our outside game.
Then you have a couple other juniors that hit the starting lineup and get some key contributions there at Nanticoke.
Yeah, Ed Lukuski's our point guard. He's our leading three-point shooter percentage-wise, and he's doing a good job of leading. He made a big basket in overtime the other night, a crazy reverse layup that I don't know how he made it, but he did, and the place went nuts. Scott Stout is right next to Brent in terms of scoring, and I think he's the guy the team's really key on to defend. He's also one of our leaders in assists, and Scott's doing a great job. And a guy who's really coming on as a junior now is our sixth-man, Ben Surson. He had a shot with 30 seconds left the other night against Hanover to send us into overtime. Place went wild. He really stepped it up on the defensive end, was diving on the floor for loose balls. So he's playing much better basketball lately, especially to the injury. We had an injury to one of our players, and he's really stepped up. And we also have two other juniors that have been contributing in practice, and that's Billy Johnson and Luke Johnson, and we think they have a bright future to help us out both this year and next year.
We're talking with John Beggs, the head coach at Nanticoke boys basketball program, off to a great start, and they've kind of tried to rebound now, get a big win against Hanover Area, and Hanover's had some of those games as well this year, and it's just a kind of contagious. I think, you know, you're getting good competition, going to make everybody a little bit better in the postseason. Coach, some sophomores to talk about, and you mentioned one of those guys is the Baczynski kid who's fighting through an injury, and hopefully he'll be back at some point for you guys.
Yeah, we have great news about Luke Baczynski. He got cleared to start rehab, and we expect him to be back possibly late next week or early the following week. So he's really excited. He's able to start shooting some free throws and put some pressure on the foot now. So he'll be back. And Justin Casey, another sophomore, is our starting center. He's our toughest kid, our strongest rebounder, really gives us an inside presence both defensively and offensively. So those two guys are major contributors as sophomores. And we got a couple other guys that really could shoot it. Cody Peastrack, Zach Cardone. They're guys that we look to come in late in games when we need a clutch shot, and they've done well. And Rich Wojtrowski's our backup point guard right now. He's a good leader, very smart player. So we have a lot of younger guys that we look to contribute.
Talking with John Beggs as we talk Nanticoke boys basketball. Coach, you mentioned that enthusiasm. The gymnasium has a whole lot of color. The bleachers look great. There's so many banners there. There's so much tradition. You're a part of that tradition, and obviously it's near and dear to your heart along with the coaches there at Nanticoke. You guys are looking to make new memories.
Yeah, first of all, the student body is great. We call our student section the jungle down here. It started back in the 80s. And these high school students and middle school students are really taking it to an old school level. I mean, they're packing it. They got signs. We have, 5 or 6 big heads of some of our teachers and some of our players floating around. So that's funny. And they've been amazing. The community is coming out in full support. Like I said, it was packed the other night. I think we've had 2 or 3 games already where there's been about 750 or 800 people. And very, very loud. The players are fired up. And that's what I like about it, too. A lot of the former players are coming back, and it's always been this way in Nanticoke. Everybody who's played always feel like they're part of the Trojan family, so we like to have them come back as much as possible. But this is my first, experience being the head coach with all the coaches coming back. We have, Coach Bartuska was there for 19 years. He's our athletic director. He helps tremendously with everything. Former coaches like Richard Kuski, Jim Carey, Jerry Babbitts, Jim Zabritsky, Tom Kevlar, Kevin Ward. These guys are at every game, and they're giving advice, and they're back into it, after being, they were in the situation that I'm in years ago. So to have all those guys that's been through the wars and, to talk to me and talk to our team about old school basketball, it's just great to have everybody back on board.
Boy, you go through that list of coaches there in Nanticoke, and there's some legendary guys, that's for sure, and that's great to see that support, get that support at Nanticoke. John Beggs with us here on the John Mendola Show. Well, John, the postseason is going to be upon us pretty quickly. A couple weeks to go. The second half of the Wyoming Valley Conference will be starting. Tell us about what are some keys you think you need to work on between now and that second half, because as you mentioned, the ups and downs with the games, is it that matter of consistency or is it finishing that fourth quarter?
Well, I think that our team starts with defense, and I think our guys have really bought into, playing tough defense on every possession and making every possession a personal battle. So we've been holding teams way below their scoring average, but when games like that happen, we don't get as many possessions either. So every possession becomes very, very important. Where we need to improve is on the offensive end, especially late. Right now, we have a lot of guys playing well, but we're not as deep as we would like to be, especially with some of the injuries. And we have a lot of young guys that are just, for the first time, getting meaningful minutes. So I think in the fourth quarter, we're not shooting as well. We're not protecting the ball as well. So our staff, my assistant coaches, have been very adamant about trying to get some guys breaks earlier in the game, being a little more creative about our substitution pattern. So we're going to try to do that and have a little bit of our starters fresher, plus it gives some of our younger guys experience. But you're right, every game's going to be tough. We have a lot of crossovers. We have a tough MMI team coming down to Nanticoke tomorrow. And, we're coming off a big win against a rival, so we have to make sure we're ready for MMI because they're always tough.
Well, John, we appreciate your time. We wish you well the rest of the season. Great talking some Nanticoke boys basketball here on the show, and we'll talk to you in the coming weeks, and hopefully we'll catch a game with you guys down the road, maybe on the radio.
That would be great to have you guys down. We appreciate everything you do for high school sports, and we're down here whenever you need to talk to us or come down and see a game. You're always welcome in Nanticoke.
All right, enthusiastic John Beggs and his players, nice young men there at Nanticoke. Got to talk to them a few times this year here on the John Mendola Show. We're driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers.